Hello, class. So today we're going to be looking at GPS 31, which is factoring trinomials by grouping. So if you remember from the previous GPS, when we have four terms, how do we factor four terms? You remember? It should be group factoring, right? So let's write that down here. Oopsie. Oops. So basically, when we have four terms, okay. So four terms, right? We factor by grouping, okay? We use grouping. Now, in this GPS, we're going to see that we're going to have three terms. So we're going to have a trinomial here. So remember, this is 1, 2, 3, okay? So that's a trinomial. So three terms, okay, which is a trinomial, right? How do we factor three terms? We factor three terms by using what's called the AC method. AC method. Okay, the air conditioner method. Okay, no, it's not air conditioner method. But we'll talk about what AC stands for. Okay, so basically, if we look at a standard form of a standard form of a quadratic takes the form ax squared plus bx plus c, right? So the coefficient that's in front of the x squared is the a term, and then the last constant, okay, the number without any variable next to it is called the c term. Okay, and then the middle one is called the b term. So we have a, b, and c, okay? So if we look at this example here, right, a is equal to 6, because a is always the term next to x squared. B is always going to be 17 because B is the term next to X. And then C will always be the last term, the constant term, the term that doesn't have a variable next to it. Okay, so that's A, B, and C. So when we talk about the AC method, I'm talking about A, the first term, and the last term. Okay, the AC method. So we'll talk about how to use the AC method in a few minutes. All right, let's look at another example here. Okay, so let's look at this one here. So this trinomial, what is A here? A is 6, right? And what's B? B is 19. And then what's C? C is 10. Okay, so just be able to identify A, B, and C for now. All right, that's A, B, and C. Let's look at another example. Okay, so let's do this example. So the way the AC method works, right, is it's called the AC method because what we're going to do is we're going to take the A term, which is 6 here, and we're going to multiply it by the C term, which is 6. So we say 6 times 6. So what is 6 times 6? That's going to give us 36. Okay, so that's why it's the AC method. You do A times C. That's 36. So that's how we get 36. So then what do we do now? We list all the factors of 36. So what are the factors of 36? Let's see. Let's start with 1. 1 and 36. 2 and 18. 3 and 12. 4 and 9. And I think that's it. All right, so you want to go in order, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. List them in order. Now, we look at the C term. Okay, so we look at the C term. Now, C is plus, right? So if the C term is plus, then we add to make the B term. So we add to make 13. So you ask yourself, which pair of these factors give me 13? Add, that gives me 13. Well, the first pair, if I add the first pair together, right? 1 and 36, that's 37. So that doesn't work, right? If we add 2 and 18 together, that's 20. So that doesn't work. If we add 3 and 12 together, that's 15. So that doesn't work. If we add 4 and 9 together, oh, that's 13. So that's the correct one. That's the one we're going to use. Okay? So you want to go through your factors and look for the term that adds that would give me 13. Okay? Why do we add? You look at the C term. The C term tells us to add or subtract. All right? So let's write this down. All right, so factoring AC method. Okay? Maybe you want to write this on the side somewhere. All right, so first thing we do is multiply A times C, and oops, multiply A times C and list its factors. Okay. Number two, if C is a positive, right, then we add to make B. Okay, so if C is positive, you would add to make the middle term, the B term. But if C is negative, okay, let me make this a little more clear. Okay, if C is positive, add to make B. If C is negative, we subtract to make the B term. Okay, so, and then you'll see how the rest of the method works. But the key steps are first multiply. So again, the key steps are to first multiply A and C, then we list its factors. Okay, like what we did here with the 36, right? And then if C is positive, so if C is positive, okay, we add to get the B term. But if C is negative, we subtract to make the B term. All right, so I'll remind you of the steps again as we do some more problems. So let's erase this for now. Okay. So as we do, so maybe you want to write down the steps on a separate sheet of paper and refer back to it when we're doing some problems. Okay, so let's see how this works. So again, we do AC method, right? So we did 6 times 6, A times C, that's 36. We list factors of 36, right? And then since C is a positive, okay, we're adding to make 13. Right? We're adding to make 13. So let's write this down. So we have 6x squared plus 13x plus 6, right? So we said we were going to use 4 and 9, right? Because that 4 plus 9 is 13. So then what do we do now? We rewrite the first term. So I'm just going to copy down the 6x squared. Now I'm going to make 13 using the two factors. How do I make 13? It's going to be a positive 4x and then a positive 9x, right? And then we're back with a plus 6. Bring down the plus 6. Okay, so you see what I did? You want to make sure that these two middle terms will always give me these two terms will always give me the middle term, right? 4x plus 9x is 13x. Okay? So now, how many terms are there? There's 4 terms now, right? So since there's 4 terms now, we are going to group factor. Since there's 4 terms, I will now group factor. Right? Put the first two in a group, put the last two in a group. So now, what can I factor out from the first two? 6 and the 4, I can pull out a 2. The x squared and the x, I can pull out an x. So what's left over when I pull out 2x? I'm going to get 3x plus 4. Now with the 9 and the 6, what's in common? I can pull out a 3. What's left over? 3x plus 2. Oh, sorry. This should be a 2, right? Yeah, sorry. This should be, yeah, when I factor out 2 from the 6, I get 3x. And then when I factor out 2x from 4x, that should give me a 2, right? No more x's. Okay, and then this becomes a 2 as well. And look at what's in common. 3x plus 2, 3x plus 2, right? That's in common. What do we do now? Pull that out. 3x plus 2. And then what's left over? 2x plus 3. And that's it. That's how you factor it. Oops. Okay. That's how you factor it. All right, let's look at another one. So for the next one, same thing. There's 3 terms. So I'm going to use AC method. I'm going to say 3 times 5. Okay, A method, A, C. 3 times 5 is 15. Now list the factors of 15. 1 and 15. 2 doesn't work. 3 and 5. And that's it, right? Now remember, look at the C term. The C term is a plus, so that means I add. So I got to add to make 8. Which one of these factors add gives me 8? 3 and 5. So what do? You rewrite the first term, okay? Now you're going to make a positive 8x, right? So now you're trying to make a positive 8x using 3 and 5. How do I make a positive 8x? Well, it has to be a plus 3x, and then a plus 5x, and then plus 5, right? You're bringing those down. Right? You just keep bringing down the first term, and you bring down the last term. And then you make sure that the middle 3x plus 5x is equal to 8x. Okay? And it does. So now what do? We group factor. So group here, group, group, group. And what can I factor from the first two? I can pull out a 3x. What's left over? X plus 1, right? 3 divided by 3 is really 1, right? And then I pull out an x from x's. And how about here? I can pull out a 5 plus 5. So what's left over? X plus 1, right? You look at numbers. What number can I take out from both of them? I can take out a 5, only a 5. So pull out a 5, I'm left with x plus 1. See? And look, x plus 1, x plus 1 are in common. So pull that out, x plus 1 times 3x plus 5. Okay, and that's it. Now, one thing to note is that you'll always have a term in common if you factored it correctly, okay? You notice how I have x plus 1 in common, right? So if you factored it correctly, that x plus 1 will be in common, or something will be in common, okay? Maybe you might want to pause the video now and try some problems on your own. And then after you try them out, you can come watch the video again and check your work. All right, let's look at the next one. Okay. So again, I have three terms. I'm going to use AC method, right? 5 times 4, which is 20. So list factors of 20. 1 and 20, 2 and 10, 3 doesn't work, 4 and 5, and I think that's it. Now, what's the C term? C term is plus, so that means I add. So I got to add to make 21. So which one of these factors add will give me 21? 1 and 20, right? That gives 21. Okay. Now what do? I bring down my 5x squared, right? And I'm going to rewrite 21 by using a positive 1x and then a positive 20x, right? And again, make sure that x plus 20x is 21x, which it is. And then I bring down my 4, so it's plus 4 here. Okay, now what do? I can group factor now. Group, 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 group. What can I factor from the first two? I can factor out an x. What's left over? 5x plus 1. I can factor out a plus 4 here, right? Right? 20 and 4, what's in common, right? I can factor out x here because I have x squared here and an x over here. Now, so back here we have a pull out of 4, I'm left with 5x plus 1. See, 5x plus 1 is in common, so I factor that out. 5x plus 1, what's left over? X plus 4. And that's my solution. And again, I'm not sure if I made it clear, but for the first term, I can factor out a x, right? Why can I factor out an x? Because I have an x squared over here, and I have a 1x here. So you can factor out the smallest power. Remember that? So since there's an x squared here and an x1 here, you factor out the smallest power, which is just the x1. All right. Number-wise, I can't factor anything because the only number I have is this 5 and then a 1 coefficient, right? Remember, there's no number that can go into both of them. So that's why I only factor out a variable and no number. Okay? All right, let's do the next one. So same thing. 3 terms, I'm gonna AC method, right? So what's the A term here? The A term is 1, right? Remember, it's an imaginary 1. So it'll be 1 times 8, which is gonna be 8. What are factors of 8? 1 and 8, 2 and 4. What else? 3? Nope, that's it, right? And since the last term, the C term is a plus, I'm going to add to make 6, right? So I got to add to make the B term. I got to add to make 6. So which one of these factors add to the 6? 2 and 4. What happens? I'm going to bring down the first term. Okay. I got to make a 6x using 2 and 4. How do I make 6x? Well, it must be plus 2x and plus 4x, right, to make 6x. and then make sure that, and then just make sure, right, 2x plus 4x is equal to 6x, which it is. And then now I'm going to bring down my 8 plus 8, right? What do I do now? I'm going to group factor, group, 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 group. What can I factor from the first two, right? And I can put an x, right? Same situation as before, right? I have an x squared and an x and a 2x, x1 technically, right? The powers of 1. So how many x's can I take out? I can take out 1x. And what's left? I have 1x left and I have a plus 2 left. What can I factor out from the second group? I can factor out plus 4, right? 4 goes into both those numbers. And if I put out 4, I'm going to get x plus 2. What's in common? X plus 2. What's left over? X plus 4. Okay, and there you go. Let's look at the next one. Right, let's look at the next one. So, same situation here. 3 terms, AC method. So what's A? A is 1. B is 24. So 1 times 24 is 24. What do you do now? List factors of 24. 1 and 24. 2 and 12. 3 and 8. 4 and 6. I think that's it. 5, 6. Yeah, that's it. So the C term is a plus. So that means I have to add. Add to make 14. Which one of these add gives me 14? 2 and 12, right? 2 and 12 gives me 14. So what do I do now? Rewrite that first one, x squared. Now I gotta make a 14, right? I gotta make 14 by using 2 and 12. How do I do that? 14x. That has to be a plus 2x, and then a plus 12x, right? Make sure. Is 2x plus 12x equal to 14x? Yes, it is. And then I bring down my plus 24. And then what I do now, I'm going to group factor here again, right? What can I factor from the first two? I can factor out an x. What's left over? X plus 2. What can I factor out from the last two? I can factor out plus 12. What's left over? X plus 2. What's in common? X plus 2. What's left over? X plus 12. Okay, and that's it. Right, let's look at the next one. Okay, same situation, right? You're going to do AC method. AC, that's 2 times 5, which is 10. What are factors of 10? 1 and 10, 2 and 5, right? And since the C term is a plus, I got to add to make 11. Which one of these add gives me 11? 1 and 10. So what do you do? Rewrite that first term, 2x squared. Now I have to make 11, right, by using 1 and 10. How do I do that? I have to use a plus 1x and a plus 10x, right? And then I'm going to bring down my plus 5. Right, let me rewrite this one a little nicer. What do I do now? Group factor, group the first two, group the last two. What can I factor from the first two? Just an x, right? Not 2. That's a 2, and this one's a 2, but there's no 2 here. So you can't pull out a 2. You can pull out an x, though, right? You can pull out 1x. So what's left? X plus, 2x, right? It's going to be a 2x plus 1. What can I factor from here? Plus 5, right? Pull out a 5, right? 10 and 5. So it'll be 2x plus 1. What's left over? And what's in common? 2x plus 1 is in common. What's left over? X plus 5. And there you go. And that's it. Okay. So again, practice this. This is a very important topic. Okay. There's some AC method, trinomial factoring. Okay, very important topic. So make sure you do the homework. If I lost you anywhere, replay the video, watch it again. And if you have any questions, post on the discussion forum. All right. See you guys next time.